All right, VJ, great recommendations, but do you have to be careful executing these strategies so as not to be too obvious? They can be perceived as having a cynical, unsupportive attitude. How do you think these strategies change as you become more senior? Very good question. You are 100% right. You do have to be careful. I think the blanket statement to answer this though is if you're killing it on your project and executing amazing work, people are less likely to care about everything else. And so if you are on a project that's important, you're doing really good work, you're delivering, you're selling, no one's gonna be too worried about you saying no to a couple extracurriculars because they know you're busy, they know you're doing well. If you're not doing well and you're struggling at work, you're right. Maybe you don't want to be saying no to too many things and losing friends. And so, yes, you do have to be careful. I don't think there's a worry about being obvious. I think everyone sort of knows, at least from my experience, knows how the game is played, where, senior people will look for an analyst to do something for them, and they'll keep looking until they find someone that says yes. Sometimes they do just treat lower level employees as just a number on a spreadsheet. And so if you say no, they'll just move to the next number. But like, I think common sense always applies here is you don't want to just make enemies for the sake of making enemies. I'm just going to look at the second part of that question. How do you think these strategies change as you become more senior? I think there's always an element of this as you become more senior. I actually think it becomes more important to look at that inverse relationship between time in the office and success as you become more senior. The reason being is your role shifts a lot further away from just doing the grunt work and putting the hours in, and it shifts towards selling and managing. And from watching the best people at Accenture, where I used to work, they always succeeded best by spending, they didn't have to spend a ton of time on the sell or the management. It was much more about working smarter than harder. And so I actually think these things become more relevant as become more senior because working smarter becomes a lot more important than working harder.